we have a larger crowd than usual. And I'm assuming it's because we have a visitor here tonight. It's the new Ward 7 councilman. His name is David Shoemaker. David. His ward is north of the bay in Wool Market. It's the western half of the city of Biloxi, past Interstate 10. So I used to look like that when I first got elected.
I don't believe that.
You know? No, I've always had a face only a mother could love. Thank you, David, for being here tonight, and his wife, Gwen. Let me introduce the folks that are here this evening. On your right, on the far right, is Christy Labata. She's the city engineer. Next to her is John Miller, chief of police. Next to him is Jerry Creel, who's the director of community development. Mayor Gillich, Jamie, tell me, Jamie, I forgot. Lee, Jamie Lee. He is Sherry Bell's assistant. She can't be here tonight. Couldn't remember your last name. Next to him is Ronnie Seymour. He's in charge of youth athletics. Would that be a good title, Ronnie? Close enough? And to his right, on your left, is Walt Rohde. He's the city representative that works with all the contractors dealing with the Katrina infrastructure. So he's a guy in the middle of all that. Having said that, if you have not picked up an agenda, they're over on the table. There's a sign-in sheet. I put out a weekly newsletter every Saturday morning. I've done that for a number of years. If you'd like to receive it, just be sure your name is on one of those sign-in sheets with your email address. I'll add you to the distribution list, and you'll start getting the Ward 5 e-blast. Also, at the bottom of the agenda, you have my contact information. You can contact me anytime. Almost without fail, I'll return your call the same day, usually within a couple of hours. Unless you leave a message where you're really high-strung and excited, then I'll probably wait 24 hours, and then I'll call you when we can both listen a little more attentively. Yes, you do know where I live. Having said that, I think we'll start off with Mayor Gillich, and there are a couple of topics under his name and Mike Leonard. Where's Mike Leonard? Mike Leonard is over here at the door. He's not the tall blonde. He's the other person over there. And Mike is the chief administrative officer for the city of Biloxi. He's the mayor's right-hand man. Having said that, Mayor, welcome.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here with you, and I think y'all can take a joke. I want to kind of tell you a little bit. He forgot to introduce a director we just recently hired, and it was to handle all complaints. All complaints. And her name is Helen Waite. So if you got a problem, go to Helen Waite. Hey, y'all, you're pretty sure. Anyway, one of my cousins told me that. Anyway. But it really is. It's great to see someone here. We got here early, and people kept, we should charge tickets and so forth. But it's really good to have everybody here and engaged and involved. And you've got the team, and you've got with David and Paul and the whole group. We're dedicated to one thing: to make it better, every phase. And it'll be challenges. Day after day after day, and not so much with the things we know about, but the things we don't know about. We don't not to expect what we don't know to expect. But I do better when they ask with questions. So I know we've got some projects cooking right now, and the main thing that we want to, it's been before MDOT since December 9th. And I keep saying any day now, but we're ready to bid this thing. And it'll take about a year to do it, but that extension of Bob's Ferry, and then following that, making sure that the drawbridge does not break. We don't have probably $300 million to put a new bridge in, but we've got $15 million to keep it from getting stuck one way or the other. So those are the kinds of challenges that we tried to do our best, and from a financial situation, anything's possible given time and money. But those are the things that we collaborate every day to make sure that we can do the best with what we got. So other than, I know you've got a lot of subjects and a lot of ground to cover, but I'm here. If you got any questions for me about anything, I'll send you to hell and wait. So I'm just kidding, WLOA. Anyway, yeah, question. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I've contacted you before about the Biloxi Beach Sky Ride.
Yes, sir.
And you just said something that I really love. Anything is possible in time and money.
That's it.
Well, as you know, I've brought the money for that project. And you know Dan's name that I've identified and who has approached me to pay for it. And you guys
Trip.
are
Yep.
hopefully working behind the scenes for it. And I'd like to know the status.
Well, the status was, and I'm not sure, it was like, we were trying to do 2.3 miles of cable, and there was a possibility of a connection between the Beau Rivage, Cabot Street, and IP, more than likely to do, yeah. But to connect, there's about 5,000 hotel rooms that this ride would connect, and even, go along the beach. I mean, the concept is, it's a Disney World kind of concept, but it will have its own gravity. And it's not off the table, but it's, we're just trying to get something where we can book it. And you can't bid it till you have the funds ready to go. And Paul, I didn't see the check. Did you see the money come in?
I never see the check.
Okay. No, but it still has, a place that, when the time is right, and we're trying to grow every phase of our tourists, and it'll be an experience. Even maybe work in Deer Island out of it too. Work Deer Island and have the cable go over, the sky ride go over that.
I've done a little research and help with my city councilman. Evidently, Deer Island years ago was off the table because you can't put a sewage treatment plant out there because y'all were gonna build some condos and stuff out there years ago.
That was BFF. That was before FOFO. But no, it has potential. Yeah, and I'm just talking about a ride over there. But that is still a big thing. The utilities and the crossing of a marine body is a problem.
How y'all like that? Everyone in this room, if they've ever been to Disney World that has seen it or rode the Skyliner in Disney knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like a ski lift, but it's not open. There's a gun in the car. They're enclosed. And it's estimated between 130 to 140 turnkey million. And that includes its own generator. Now, Disney has it over water. This would not be over water, so it's cheaper. Disney had to fabricate and manufacture a barge in order to maintenance it and rescue anybody that gets stuck up there. Where we got a fire department and a ladder that can get them. And it wouldn't affect the people, I don't know if any of y'all live on the beach or not. There's two things that immediately come to somebody's mind. Well, what you're gonna do is hurricane proof. Why, yes, it is. We take the cars down and store them because we can see a hurricane coming a long way off, just like Disney does. And the other thing is, these things can operate in like over 100-mile-an-hour winds. Not to say that that's going to be taking place because of the shutdowns with high wind advisories and lightning. Disney manufactured this and they tested it and then they implemented it and installed it. They are the premier engineering company. Where's my city engineers around here? You recognize what I'm saying, don't you? Everybody wants to work for Disney, well, almost everybody. But this is something that's called a family-friendly tourist attraction.
Well, we're trying to, pitch our approach to that, and the ability to tie everybody together when you go out of one, destination to another. But you mentioned something I want to real quickly mention, that the gondola would be similar as far as environmental, that the wheel at the Ferris wheel at Paradise Pier, that's enclosed, and it's meant to be taken down during storm times. So it would be a similar thing. But we'll work out the details. Yep.
Another minute, Craig, if you need it, otherwise we gotta move.
Yeah, let me, he knows, he knows my email. I know. But yeah, we touched a little bit about Pops Ferry Extension. That's a game changer. It's we feel 20-something more million to do it. We have the chips ready to do it, and it's probably take 12 months. They wanted to stretch it out, but I think we're going to bid it when we start it. 12 months later, you'll be riding on it. It's about $4 million worth of improvements to Pass Road and the intersection of Pops Ferry, and as well as tying into the beach. But the big game changer, two things that already happened. That enables us, that Pops Ferry, to touch a major highway, which it does not now, which means it's not a state road. So that means we get no federal money. So this is a big deal. So that's going to put us in another ball game because we don't want to own a bridge. That's always a problem. But anyway, so that's a big step. But also, I think you see in just a few more months, you'll be shopping at Rouse's down the street. So it's pretty much a result of this plan and this energy to get this thing reconfigured and reopened. Of course, there's I think Chief will probably touch on this, but one thing I need to mention, you might notice Pafford, our new ambulance provider, our emergency services provider, and I was here right after they went in place, but they're stationed at 5 of our fire stations. And before, for the last 8 years, I've always, when there's a medical emergency, the fire department beats the ambulance services. Okay, well, one thing that's pretty astounding, that, the other day I was coming from here, going to the junior college, I think what it was, but Pafford made a turn on Big Lake Road, and fire department followed it. So that was the first for me. So, but the fire department, I think, for the first month of services was under 8 minutes response, which was pretty good. So, we're real pleased with them. And I think Gulfport kind of saw the same logic we did. And, this is really raw data, but it's good data, and no excuses for, these other things they call it, I forget the name of what it's called, exceptions. There were no exceptions because of weather or something like that. But that's a big deal, and I think you could expect even greater service. And us and Gulfport together really enforces the decision that it was to take and go away from AMR in a mode that really puts us in a good shape. So. A better way to give. There's an effort I think they had a census of homeless and some of the challenges that these people have that you see every day at Mercy Cross and Loaves and Fishes, and a number of things that are challenged. It is, a number of substance abuse, mental health, and another things that cause homelessness. We're not experts on them, but we're involved with it every day. And we're making progress. We have the ability to put, I think, some things in place for an assessment center, where these people are. The ground zero for homeless now in Biloxi is Mercy Cross. So they get there from Loaves and Fishes or from the Back Bay Mission. They get to Loaves and Fishes at the old Mercy Cross Gymnasium. So there's some feeding going on there. Uninsured motorists, we're going to let the chief talk a little bit about that. We don't need to do it right this second. But the uninsured motorists, there's going to be an effort, and you'll be surprised that you and I pay insurance for our cars and our vehicles. Chief, is I'm not wrong, 30%. We found it's over 30% of the places we check, no insurance. 30%, that's strong. So, and that causes our rates to go up. So that's an effort that we've put together, and we're 2 weeks into the implementation now. Yeah. So.
Still working some of those little bugs out here.
Yeah. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Mike, you have anything to add? Everything good? Yep. That's what a good Marine will say. Yes, sir.
Regarding Oxbury Road and Pasco intersection, has there been any revisions to the engineering plans for the northeast quadrant of the intersection?
Yeah.
Turning lane, eliminate
Yeah.
late afternoon, Keysler bottleneck right there? Because I looked at the initial drawings and that was it. There's no turn lane from Clark section. That's a huge problem to me. Only got one chance to get it right.
As I recall from what was passed, there is double lane, so you'll be able to, you
I
can,
mean, all the other approaches look
yeah,
good.
straight and turn.
That one in that
Yeah.
northeast quadrant, where, in front of that Clark station, that's what's creating backup all the way
Yeah.
to the road in the afternoon.
Well, again, there's, a Gulf Regional Planning Commission put another couple of $1 million so that could be engineered. That is, there's about total,
Traffic from hitting Atkinson Road,
yeah.
overflowing that way.
Well, it's a mess when you try to go either way, from the east or the west, or north and the south, the way Bouvard Road is.
Drawings, that's the only problem I have.
Well, as I recall, there's the ability, 2 lanes to turn, one goes straight that you don't have now.
Go straight, they're holding up traffic.
Yeah. Well, it is a major redesign of that interchange. So, any other question? Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the Oxbury Bridge, is it going to be a drawbridge or is it going to be a?
Right now, it's going to be a workable drawbridge. As soon as we, we funded $15 million and we're in the bid mode right now. Are we ready to bid that?
We're still getting the grant paperwork in place.
But the paperwork will be in place, but it's going to be fixing the exact mechanism, so you don't have to have a crowbar. But, well, why not high rises? Because it's about $250 million. And if you want to do a toll, how many people want to pay a toll on that? But, yes, sir.
I got a question about the hobos that's around here. I live right over in Biloxi. And just the other day, I get a picture of one sleeping out in front of the Hancock Bank building by the road, stretched out there. There's one up against that building that's been there. There's another one that's back here on Route Petty Boy that's been there. Monday night, just a couple of nights ago, I called Biloxi because there's a dumpster diver in the apartments at Route Palafox and Route Petty Boy on the east side, the ones that are owned by London's.
Right.
What are y'all doing about this to get them out of our neighborhood? Also, maybe about a month and a half ago, they set the woods on fire back here.
It's,
Areas getting infested with them. What are y'all doing to clear this up?
well, again, it's not against the law to actually solicit for funds. Where you can do it, I think, is what we tried to do. But we're trying to get them out of that situation. And it's very difficult. And most of them, yeah. Well, it's a problem. And Chief will kind of tell you what we can do when you're bothered or you're intimidated. That's against the law. If they threaten you in any kind of way, it's not against the law to be homeless. And that's the challenge that we have, to get these people out of the situation.
In the last month, there's been spray paint on the back of the Hancock Fabric building. I went with my own money to the piece of paint that's falling off of that building, and I had to take a 4-inch roller and roll
Scrape
the
it.
same color to get that gang spray paint off of that building, so I don't feel like I'm living in a ghetto.
Right.
And y'all are still, if I'm not mistaken, we have 3 officers between the Bees and White Avenue for this area.
Well,
We
yeah.
need more presence. Y'all sent out the thing recently that said y'all hired new officers. All the gang stuff, the spray paint, the hobos. I don't want to live in San Francisco. I want to live in a Baldwin County, Fairhope type area. And that's the way it was 22 years ago when I was here. I moved here.
I can't defend, what we're, the challenge that we have. I mean, it's a challenge, and we're trying to get a solution every day.
I understand, but y'all have to give that man over there the tools to get rid of the bums and hobos out of this area. Put in some kind of ordinance that's illegal to solicit the
You might,
project that Gulfport has, a better way to give, run off the corner, whatever.
well, you might recall,
I mean, I don't know, she can't go
I mean, that's a problem.
It is, and y'all are the ones that's supposed to do something about this and give that man over there the tools to do it.
Well, we're trying to be as innovative and creative as the law allows. I think, Chief, that's pretty much, if,
When I get up, I can speak.
yeah.
I can speak more.
But you did recall, talk about some of the things we've tried, and the press got a hold of some of the things, because this was completely voluntary. We got credit for dropping people off in various places, like Mobile. I don't know if you remember that little, okay? But,
Two separate things about this spray paint on the back of that hammer.
yeah, well,
And that intimidates people.
Yeah.
They don't want it, they make it.
well, I'm appreciative of that, and again, these things that you're bringing to our attention, we're listening, and I don't have all the solutions, but we know how to, I think, hammer the direction, so I'm appreciative of that. Yep. And again, up till about 6 months ago, we had no place to bring them when it came to people who needed to be in jail. Wasn't any room at the inn. And so I think we've got that. We have about 60 people that we can put up, because it was down to about 15 people that we could put in, in our Harrison County Jail. So that was certainly a problem. Yeah. Okay, well, I enjoyed it. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Mayor, and I know at least one person that has questions of the police chief, so we'll get to him. He's further down on the agenda. The next person I'd like to introduce is Walt Rohde, and he's not really the program manager, but as I mentioned earlier, he's responsible for working with all the contractors that are doing the Hurricane Katrina-related infrastructure repairs. And part of those repairs are still occurring here along Highway 90, the Beauvoir Road, Highway 90 intersection, that lift station. And there are those other projects along Highway 90, that some of which are in Ward 5. Walt?
If you don't mind, Councilman, if everybody can hear me okay, I'm going to stand a little bit closer to my visual aid.
Speak loud, Walt.
Well, stand by my visual
Thank
aids over here, just give an oversight of where we're at with our current projects, the infrastructure program. We look over here at this map of the city of Biloxi as a whole, and Councilman Tisdale's Ward 5 is here on the west side. The projects we have going on are what we call BEA 1, 2, and 3. It basically extends from Beauvoir Road all the way down to Veterans Avenue, mainly within the 10 or 15 feet of the north side of Highway 90. That project was currently bid at, the current value is $35.2 million. We have about $16.33 million left on this project area. That's going to be complete next year, August 2024. The other project we have going on right now is on the far east side, what we call the St. Michael's project area, which is St. Michael's 1 and 2. That project there is valued at $45.3 million. It has about $13.5 million left, and this one is scheduled to be complete August of this year, although due to some heavy rains and some issues with some right-of-way and CSX, it may be pushed back a month or so, but the majority of all the work in the road will be paid by August of this year. And this is just a closer view of the project area that I mentioned under Councilman Tisdale's Ward 5, between the Bees Road and Veterans. And then we have two final projects that we will hope to finish here to complete the infrastructure program. It's what we call the ROD 9, the Roadburg 9 project, basically from Veterans to the Holy Land, as we call it here. And our final one is what we call Boynton East 1 and 2. That's basically along Casino Road, downtown Biloxi area. I've been to several of these. You may recognize my face, and try to update every month on the city's BTV. So are there any specific questions that you may have related to any of the project areas or where we stand or any concerns?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So you talked about the Bowview project. What about the project as far down towards DeVries Road? What's
Right.
the schedule on that?
sewer at the north end of project limits by the Coliseum. Once that's complete, the contractor's going to start where you mentioned between Beach Road and Edgewater Mall. So I'll give this area another 2 months, maybe a month and a half, 6 weeks, and they should be able to commission the lift station, get everybody tied into the sewer and tied in on Bogle Road. That contractor will jump over to Edgewater Mall and start making the way from east to west.
Do you have an estimated time of how long that would take for that section?
Well, the contractor is between now and August of next year, and right now, he's not in any rush to go any faster. But he is about to complete these two areas is actually ahead of schedule. And I know he's got a lot of work with another client, the DOT, so he may try to wrap this up pretty quick and focus on those projects outside the city. Yes, sir.
Two questions. Is there going to be the lift station in that purple area there, the one that looks at Beach Road?
This here?
Yeah.
No, sir.
No lift station.
No, sir.
Okay. And second thing is, how did you cross underneath the Lola property, park, Jefferson? The whole, you guys went underground, I believe.
There was already an existing sewer that came across Bogle, the previous project. We really tied in on the Bogle roadside. And the contractor, I believe, did a directional bore underneath to install the water main within our utility easement. So we never encroached beyond our utility easement along the Bogle, but the sewer had already previously been completed under another project.
Is there any chance that can be done on the, in that same purple section towards the end? With the Bowview condominium, and again, there's a lot of landscape, all that. Is there any way to drop underneath? Because I've seen what's been done on some of their exposed property. I mean, if it's been a year and a half now, it's still not been recovered on the top side. So our concern is that we're gonna see that kind of destruction for a long time. I just wonder when you guys can consider the bore underneath it.
That's a good question. In fact, we have, the original design called for us for removing, well, the designer showed a nice line going right through the water fountain.
Yep.
And nice gates and nice. And sometimes designers don't go out and really look at the situation. So we've got a change order in place. The contractor is going to jack and bore or directional bore underneath all that so we can avoid
Thank
drilling
you.
down. That's, it's additional cost to the city, but the mayor agreed that it's best to not disrupt what we have there at the condominiums. Yes, sir.
So when is the second overlay on Boulevard Road?
Sir?
When is the second overlay on Boulevard Road going to be completed?
The last 2 inches that we have due on Bogle Road and probably going to be towards the very end of the project. What happens is these contractors are general contractors and they have a lot of subcontractors working for them. The subcontractor that does the paving is Warren Paving, and every time they come out to the job site, they charge a mobilization fee. So what tends to happen on these projects, and it may go a little different when we complete these 2 areas, we can have that discussion with the mayor and our admin officer, Mike Leonard, but what tends to happen is the contractor lets you get all the base asphalt complete, and then just call Warren Paving out one time for the last 2 inches. But given the fact that these 2 areas are going to be done pretty soon, actually, relatively, we may request them to go ahead and complete that last 2 inches of surface asphalt and button it up. So it's a conversation we're never going to have with our contractor. Any other questions?
Thank you, Walt. Thank you, Walt. Walt lived to tell the tale. That was pretty well done. We might not invite you back 6 months from now. Thanks again, Walt. Next is Jamie Lee. He's the Assistant Director in the Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you, Councilman Tisdale. How's everybody doing today? Just to give you everybody an overview of what's going on in the Parks and Rec Department. I know it doesn't necessarily mean it could be in your ward, but citywide. For Easter, we are planning on opening up our splash pads throughout the city. They will be on as of tomorrow afternoon, so if you have any visiting children, grandchildren that are in town, they want to go utilize our splash pads, those will be open course, minus the Point Cadet. We have an event down there this weekend, and we're not going to open that one up until Monday. So all of our splash pads will be up and running as of Monday after Easter. Summer is rapidly approaching, so, we'll be out manicuring our areas, cutting grass, cleaning up our parks. We're looking at holding our summer swim lesson registration at the natatorium the first part of May. We're hoping to get the word out once we finalize our schedule, hopefully this week or next week. We will be registering for our summer playground program coming up very soon. That's the summer camp that we utilize the schools to, for the kids, for the parents at work or so on and so forth, for the kids to go while they're out of school and do different activities. Our senior games programs are ongoing. We just recently held our pickleball competition, basketball competition, some of our local games, darts, shuffleboard. It's a great opportunity. It's a great way to network. We draw in a bunch of different people. I think we had over 800 registrants for this year's games. And of course, the top participants do qualify and move on to nationals. So it's a great thing. If you're looking for some activities to do, some competitive things, get with us and we can steer you in the right direction. I know some of you have probably heard or seen some of the major upgrades that we have going on at the A.J. Holloway Sports Complex. We are getting turf installed on all of our softball fields and Little League baseball fields out there. So that is going to be a major improvement. They actually finished the turfing on the softball side, and now they're moving over to the Little League side to start that. And then once they're finished with those two complexes, then they're actually going to move on to the football and soccer side and kind of get those grounds leveled out and actually resod all of those fields over there. So it'd be almost like a brand new complex for our youth leagues to participate in, looking at scheduling for tournaments, helping bring money into the city for the visitors coming in to utilize those parks or those fields. We're also adding parking spaces out at the complex, and quite recently, I think this morning, we got the bids in to upgrade the tennis lights out there at the A.J. Holloway complex as well. So for any of you tennis players, hopefully in the next few weeks, months, those will be upgraded as well out there. We did some improvements to our neighborhood parks throughout the city. I don't know if you've seen about those, like at Savaro right there on Irish Hill. We got those ready to go. We just had lights installed on those recently. So our leagues and residents can utilize that park there, as well as the Todd Miguez Park downtown, right by Boomtown off Parker Street. I got word today that there's two fields there, and one of those fields, they have lights installed on those, and then next week after Easter, they're going to come back and upgrade the lights on the south field there. So those are going to also be options for our leagues, because I believe our first game is on April 8th, Ronnie, for baseball. Softball started this week, and baseball is going to start, youth baseball is going to start on April 8th. So we're getting close to it. As far as your ward, I know Councilman Tisdale talked about some of the outdoor equipment at Pennzoil Park. We did receive some prices, quotes, bids for those, but some of the stuff we received was incorrect, so the director is reaching back out, trying to get those, and as soon as those are received, then hopefully, within a relatively soon time frame, we're going to get some new exercise equipment installed out at Pennzoil. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
This is regarding the Bayfront Pavilion at Miller Park. Are there any plans to redo the roof, the decking on it? It's pretty bad shape.
The one on the north side, right? We have 3 quotes on that, and we're hoping, we're just waiting on some paperwork to get done on that. Hopefully, very soon, we're going to start repairs on that. But yes, that is in the works. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm an outsider. I'm from
Sure.
Ward 1. But when is the fencing at the back of Miramar Park going to be repaired? It's been down since Zeta. It's just a couple of sections, and it looks janky.
On the north side of Miramar,
Yes, sir.
I don't have an answer for you on that, but I will look into it as soon as I get back in the office tomorrow. Sure, right. I know, the only thing I can comment on about Miramar at this time is we are looking at maybe putting up some additional swings and things like that there. But I will check into that fencing for you. Yes, ma'am. Sure, will do. Yes, ma'am.
Are there additional swings for Margaret Sherry playground?
We're looking, I started this week, myself personally, going around to the different neighborhood parks and kind of getting an idea of what types of swings are at each park. You know, it's not as simple as just hanging a swing up there. We got to make sure that we have the right length, we have the right chain, we have the right fasteners that go onto the support beam. So we are gathering information on that so we can make an order, and yes, they are going to be replaced. I know we just put some new mulch down into the swing set, and now the next step would be to go ahead and get those swings.
Do libraries fall under?
They do not, no ma'am. Not the library inside. I mean, some of the grounds we may take care of, but nothing inside falls under our department.
Well, this is outside, that I'd like to ask about.
Okay.
Biloxi. Is there any way that can be power washed? The inside is beautiful, the outside looks terrible.
Okay.
The concrete and the building itself needs power washing.
I will look into that for you as well. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. Anybody else? And one more thing real quick. Ronnie Seymour is our new athletic specialist who is in charge of all the youth programs. And something that he has brought on with his relationship with the Biloxi school system is trying to collaborate efforts between the department, the city, as well as the school. So we've been able to utilize some of their resources, such as hosting some of our championship games at their facilities, and it's been a really positive impact on our youth, just being able to be on that setting, on that stage. So that is something that's been taken really well, and we hope to continue. So, all right. Thank you.
I forgot to mention there are a couple of handouts on the table over there. One of them is just a very brief overview of the process for applying for a special events permit. Okay, the actual ordinance you can find on my website. On the right side, there's a special events link. I boiled that down to 13 pages. So this is a summary of those 13 pages, but there's a process involved, and this is the process. The other thing is going to be covered under one of Mr. Creel's topics a little later. There was some interest I noticed on Facebook about an issue or two related with the community college's road from Pass Road to Eula Street. So there's a diagram that may help you follow along, maybe. It's the best I could do. I'm an old guy. I don't have many colored pencils. But trying to get you what you need so you can follow the discussion. Okay, next is Jerry Creel. He's the Director of Community Development. And Jerry, you've been in this position for
21 years.
Only 21 years. And he's very knowledgeable. Generally, this section of the ward meeting on the agenda, the Community Development and Public Works and Engineering, generates the most questions and so forth, and the most interest. So, without further ado, Jerry, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing us to come and speak and answer your questions tonight. I have a few topics here that are listed on the agenda that I'll cover. I think I'm going to wait on the Community College Road until the end of this, because I think there'll be probably some questions on that. But the first one is Rouse's Supermarket. Rouse's Supermarket is blowing and going. You've probably seen the construction going on down there. Now, their schedule, they're projected to be finished in July of this year. They still have a lot of work to do, but usually what happens once they get the flooring in, they went in and cut out the entire floor so that they could run all of their refrigerant lines and everything else underground, so we'd have a nice smooth floor when they get through. And typically, once they get that done, they'll start working 24/7 to finish up. So July might be a little ambitious, but we expect them to meet their deadline, and that's going to be a welcome addition to that shopping center down there. The Broadway Inn on Walmart Lane, we've gotten a number of complaint calls about that hotel that was down there. This is the one down there next to IHOP, and that property had been sold after Mr. Moini got killed there. The property was sold to a hotel developer. They came in, pulled a permit, told us that they were going to jump right on it and get it done. They went in and made a lot of termite repairs. It had a lot of termite damage to it, and it seemed like they were going to go ahead and finish it, and then all of a sudden the work stopped. And we started getting complaint calls about people going in and out of the building, that they had taken the door off and some other things. Without going into a lot of detail about it, the latest thing that's happened on that is that we are in touch with the finance company that is providing the financing to do that. They're taking steps now to get that problem corrected. We've got it going to the city council, to address some problems with the building and with the property. And they told us before we actually take any steps to demolish it, to make sure that they're aware of it, because once they get through their process, they said that they would make sure that they go in and take care of whatever is out of compliance, so that the neighbors, it would take care of their concerns. The Keesler Federal Credit Union update, this is the property next to where. Okay.
I'm Ellis Hill. I live in Bellevue Condos across the street from that hotel.
Yes, sir.
Is there a timeline that you have or aware of for them to actually do something,
Yeah.
or for the city to take action?
The lending institution said that their process is going to take 30 days. We would take it to the council. If the council approves the demolition of the building, it still takes us almost 2 months to go out and get bids. We have to advertise for bids to do that. In the meantime, if they come in with a proposal to repair everything that's in it, then certainly we'd listen to them and work with them, before we tore it down. Structurally, the building's in good shape. It's just that it's a magnet for homeless people, and some other things, and we want to get that done. We certainly want to get that swimming pool pumped out, that's there, and that's one of the things that we're going to the council about. So someone else had a.
Shorter term, the swimming pool, that's a big problem.
Yes, it is.
So getting the swimming pool pumped out wouldn't necessarily take you 2 months, because that's gonna be a mosquito problem, and also, it's a danger to humans.
Yeah, we would not have to bid that part out. If the council gives us we have to have city council approval to go into any private property. If they give us the approval on that, then we can go ahead and take steps to get a separate contractor to go in and pump it out and actually put a cover over it while we're negotiating about the rest of the building, so.
So you know that's an urgent issue.
Yes, ma'am, yes. We always take swimming pools seriously. Question here. Not yet. This is not a case where somebody's in violation, so immediately we take it to the council and everything's resolved in a week. There is due process involved where we have to give them an opportunity to clean it up, have a meeting with them. If they show up for the meeting, we try to work something out. We had that, excuse me, we had that meeting, they did not show up, so it allows us to move on to the next step. But we do have advertising requirements and those kind of things that we have to deal with, so.
Are we assuming that the owners are going into this with the same kind of a business, or has the owner come before the board with the description of what the intended use is for the business? You take care of the hotel there?
Yes, yes. Everything that we know about it right now is that it would be a hotel, yes.
He has not come before you?
No. No, sir.
Is that part of the process where?
Well, they would have to submit plans to us. If they're going back in and repairing what was already there, and they just have to update it, to bring it up to modern code, so they can actually go in and do that. If they propose to put anything new on the property, that would come in and go through our development review committee, and we would have to do it. Now, the previous person that we were dealing with on this, who we found out was not actually the owner, he just represented the owner, was proposing that they would add another hotel building to the front and a restaurant to the front, and certainly all of that would have to come through and go through the city's process for getting approval. Anything else on that? Okay. All right, the next item has to do with the Keesler Federal Credit Union update. This is the property that was the golf course that was right next to, on the west side of the existing Keesler Federal Credit Union. You'll recall that that went through and got a zoning change for that property. And what the credit union is proposing to do is to move their overall headquarters to that location and build a building. I'll be honest with you, we have not heard anything about that since the zoning was changed. We're essentially waiting on them to provide us with the actual site plan. I'm sure they're working on that. They just haven't submitted it to us yet. The old Hobby Lobby building, we had two tenants. The developer had two tenants that were ready to move into that building, and they were both going to be big name tenants going in, but it was a co-locate type of agreement where one would only go in if the other one went in. Well, what happened is one of the tenants was from Gulfport, and Gulfport went to that tenant and made them an offer they couldn't refuse. So the other tenant, which is actually the better tenant of the two, still wants to come to that building, but they're only going to come whenever the developer, the property owners, get another named tenant to go in. And they don't want us to announce who it is yet, but we'll certainly work with them, to make that work once they come to us with an application. On the Gulf Coast Community College road update, as you probably noticed, the road is under construction. They are taking it from Pass Road all the way up to Eula Cove, and then there'll be a roundabout there. There will be a traffic signal on Pass Road there to help control traffic coming out. I know that there's some confusion out there right now about a proposal for the subdivision on the golf course, that 20 lots that were proposed that went through the Development Review Committee to go in. And there was some concern that that subdivision was going to be tied into the Eula Cove roundabout. It's not. The place where that is going to tie in is actually south of the Eula Cove Street, and it actually comes down at an angle from the northeast to the southwest where it turns in. The concern of some of the neighbors is that, this is going to bring people out of the college, and they're going to cut through, and they're going to go through Goose Point to come out over there. There is no advantage to them doing that, because by the time that they come out and are headed straight down to the traffic signal there at Pass Road, for them to turn around and go back to the northwest to come out at the Goose Point makes absolutely no sense at all. So we don't see that being a problem. Now, as I understand from the owner of that property, his representative, there is no contract right now to build those houses in there. There's no bid out. There's no real design for it. The site plan went through our process and got subdivision approval, but right now no application has been submitted, so we don't see that happening anytime soon. Yes, sir?
Just to clarify one more time, the council has approved to add that subdivision or addendum onto the,
It's 20 lots there, yes.
y'all have approved that the plan is up to the developer to execute move forward at his leisure. Is that correct?
No, he would have to come back in and get the approvals. Whenever a subdivision is approved, whenever the plat is approved, it's called a preliminary plat. That gets approved. Once that's approved, then the developer has to come in and submit infrastructure construction plans to our engineering department. They have to review the infrastructure plans and give them a permit to actually go out there and put in the water, the sewer, the drainage, the street lighting, the pavement, the curb and gutter, all of those kind of things. Once all of that infrastructure is in to the engineer's satisfaction, then they will write me a letter saying that everything has been done, we're satisfied, y'all can go ahead and put this item on the city council agenda for final plat approval. And once the council approves that final plat, then it requires signatures of the mayor, the president of the council, me, and some other people to sign off on it. and then it has to go be filed in the courthouse before any houses can be built there. So there are some more steps.
Make sure that that's a normal course of business at this point for the developer to get those approvals. And if he's already proved his ability to build a subdivision, what would prove that he couldn't add gas, water, sewage, and gutter systems to 20 lots?
I mean, it's only going to be approved for whatever they present to us. In other words, they present the infrastructure to us, and whatever goes on that plat, when it's approved, there's all kind of restrictive language on there that prohibits it. It is zoned single family. They can't build anything on there but single family houses. That's it. And the lots in that area have to be a minimum of 10,000 square feet. That's what was presented. If somebody goes in and tries to build anything commercial, they're going to have to come in and go through the process for a zoning change. And there'd be advertisements letting the neighbors know that something different has been proposed. So that's not going to happen. You're not going to be blindsided by something just going up out there other than single-family houses. Okay.
Question, Jerry, on that. So it's been to the DRC, the Development Review Committee, and for a preliminary plat approval, does that have to go to the Planning Commission?
It does, yes.
Okay, so where we are now is roughly a site plan has been through the Development Review Committee process. Those are all city employees to be sure they're following all the code, rules, regs, all that stuff. At some point, if the developer or the owner moves forward with this project, they'll need, as Jerry said, preliminary plat approval, which means it'll be on the Planning Commission agenda. Planning Commission meets twice a month. Do you know where to find the Planning Commission agenda? On the City Council's website, so you'll know what's coming up on their agenda. If you want to know, get your name and email address to me. I'll put you on my distribution list. Whenever there's a Planning Commission meeting, I always have a link to the Planning Commission meeting and the Development Review Committee meetings. And for things like this that come before the Planning Commission, in my weekly newsletter, since I know people are following that in Ward 5, I'll have a link or information to keep you apprised of that. The reason I point that out is the Development Review Committee meetings are all open to the public. You can't go in there and ask questions, but you can listen, look at the drawings, whatever. It's a public meeting. When it goes to the Planning Commission meeting, they conduct a public hearing. That's an opportunity to speak for or against this development, or general comments or questions in general. And then for final plat approval, as Mr. Creel said, it'll come to the council. You have an opportunity at every council meeting to speak up to 3 minutes on any topic you like. And some people do, by the way, on topics I would have never thought I'd hear, but they do. But you have another opportunity to be heard at before the council votes on that. So it's a process, and this developer has gone through the first step of the process, going through the Development Review Committee. So there's still a public hearing on the way if it moves forward, and then an opportunity when it comes to the council to speak before the council. Okay?
And just to clarify, you're saying if the 20 lots do happen down the road, it will not connect to the roundabout?
Not to the roundabout, no. It will connect to the new road, but it'll connect to the new road south of the roundabout. Okay.
Go over this picture a little bit better, tell us exactly where things are.
Okay, I don't have that picture in front of me.
So it looks like there's an R20 and a road on the right of the building.
Okay.
R20 and RS75.
Right. Okay, anything that says RS means residential, single family. So only single family can be built on there. The RM20 means residential multifamily, and it means that there can be up to 20 units per acre on that section that's zoned RM20. Yep. But the property in question that we're asking about right now is the piece of property that's at an angle to the east of the new connector road that's got RS 7.5. It's RS 7.5, meaning that those lots would have to be at least 7,500 square feet. I said RS 10 but it's RS 7.5. And they are proposing 20 new lots in there, but again, they haven't gone beyond the DRC approval, so that's where we are right now. Okay. Let me, yeah.
Is there any plans to go past the roundabout, or is that road that we were told many meetings that it would stop at Eula and go down? Any plans of that going past that roundabout?
We have received nothing. We've received no application. We've received no plan, nothing. And as the representative said one time before when he came to one of these meetings, he said that little dotted line that they put on there was something that but they have no funding for that. They have no plans to pursue that at any time in the near future.
Those
So,
same people told us that those would be single-family houses, not townhouses for rent too. So it's a little hard to, really believe what they're saying.
no, that was a different group that did that. Okay.
Let me, excuse me, Jerry. So I had invited a representative from the community college to be here a number of weeks ago. And got a reply. Thank you for emailing me. The college appreciates the invitation to attend the Ward 5 meeting. However, there are no new updates regarding the road. If we have any new information in the future, we'll gladly reach out to you for a place on the agenda. If I hear from them and that they're going to do anything, I don't have to call a ward meeting. We could have a neighborhood meeting. I know the folks in Cove Drive, Channel Mark, and Edgewater Estates there in Goose Point are all following this issue closely. In fact, we had one last time at the community college, and a number of people attended. So I just want to make that clear. I had invited somebody from the community college because I know a number of you are interested in following this topic. So as Mr. Creel said, there's nothing to report since the last time we met.
So on the RN20, that's done for the multi-home 20. Is there a way or a process possibly that we rezone?
If the owner came in with an application to rezone it, he could suggest rezoning it, but again, he would have to go through the process and everyone would have the opportunity to speak. It's a public hearing. Okay. Let me just run through some good things to tell you about some projects that we've got going on real quick. I don't want to take up too much time doing this, but right now we've got development going in. I'm sorry.
I apologize. I'm Penny Ford, the C4 owns that property that y'all questioned about. Please get with me and talk with me. Don't just walk away. Because I really want everybody to know exactly what we have planned for this property. Okay? I don't want y'all to think that we're just coming and bombing like they said. There's a lot of procedure that we have to go through. But please, I'm going to wait out at the end and don't come talk to me. Please don't walk away. Come talk to me. Okay? I'm glad to answer any questions that y'all have.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you something on a different subject. What tenants are going into the old Hobby Lobby that wanted to go in? And on the second thing, do you know anything about the town that's going between Pennypoint and Talafox right there?
Yes, sir, I do, and I'm going to cover that in just a minute. I'll tell you this because I don't think it's a secret anymore. One of the tenants that was going into the Hobby Lobby was Big Lots. And they were in Gulfport. They were going to move over here, and Gulfport went to them and offered them some kind of a deal, and they went through. I can't tell you who the other one is yet because they don't want that released. And we try to work with these developers as much as possible. Let me tell you about some of the things that are going on that I think you'd be interested in. We have development going on in every part of the city. I mean, whichever direction you drive in Biloxi, you're going to see some development going on. You probably don't realize these things because if you don't see them all at one time or if you don't see them on a list, you don't realize what all we've got going on. Of course, the Bark building downtown, the big Bark building, is being renovated. That's going to have some hotel rooms in it, some retail space, and some other things. The Sanger Theater, the Rouses, we've already mentioned. There's going to be some information about the e-fitness center that'll be coming out. The developer's going to be making an announcement on that at some point. The e-fitness center that's at the corner of Cedar Lake Road, at the end of Cedar Lake Road. So be prepared for that. We have a new large medical facility that's proposed for Shriners Boulevard there on North Oak Lawn on the west side of Shriners Boulevard. It's almost 18 acres, and it's all going to be a really large medical facility. They've started on phase 1. There'll be 4 phases involved in that. Of course, the addition to the White House Hotel, if you've been downtown, you've probably seen they've got all 3 floors framed up. That's going to add another 55 units to the hotel, and it's really going to look nice when they get through with it. A lot of the architectural character will be just like the White House Hotel is. The former Hooters location down here on the beach is, they've pulled a permit to put Azteca in there. If you're familiar with Azteca, they're going to change the whole outside look to it and add a courtyard to the west side. That'll be really nice. We have the convenience store that's being built at the corner of DeBees Road and the service drive there on Highway 90. And then right behind that is going to be the Lost Garden townhomes. They've got the infrastructure in for that right now. The Classy Chassis that's just down the road here, we were hoping that would be open right now, but there's some problems with the construction problems with the owner and the contractor, so it looks like that's going to be delayed a little while. The former Margaritaville site, there's going to do the interior renovations in 2 phases. They've submitted the plans for phase 1. We finished those plans up today. We're supposed to be getting the plans for phase 2. They hope to have that open. It is not a casino, but they hope to have that open by the end of this year, by December. And that's going to be a major addition to that end of town. We have the Monarch Villas, which is the little subdivision that's being built right next to what used to be the Innovation Center on Pops Ferry Road. We have a new Dollar Tree, a really nice Dollar Tree that's going to be going a catacorner across from the Walmart Neighborhood Market on Pops Ferry Road. They're going to tear down what used to be Sunny Mortgage there and build it on that side. Of course, the Aqua Suites, which was the hotel that was approved a year and a half ago, that's going to be on the west side of White Avenue across from the White House Hotel. They have to have their plat filed with us by June of this year in order for that overlay district to continue. The Keesler Federal Credit Union headquarters, I told you about that. We have the new concept now with hotels is one building with one common lobby and 2 different hotels on either side of that one building. And there's a proposal to build one of those double hotels on Iron Horse right behind what's the Cheeky Monkey Car Wash up there off of Pops Ferry Road. We're waiting on the plans to come in for a new hotel at Gateway. If you know where Gateway is down here on the east side of DeBees Road, it's the road that goes back to the hospital. There's nothing on that road right now, but the owner's going to build a hotel on the east side. He's also going to have a retail center and then a condominium development in the rear of that. We're just waiting on the plans. Right next to Yates Construction downtown is a proposal for a boutique hotel that's going to be built there. We also have approved plans for a convenience store to go at the corner of Pops Ferry and Jam Lane. Sal and Mookie's downtown, if you've passed by there lately, you know Sal and Mookie's is closed down. There's a sign up there that says coming soon, Catch 110. It's going to be a nice seafood restaurant going in there. And also the former property that belonged to the Church of the Redeemer down on Beach Boulevard has been sold, and we're going to have a hotel going in there. Residential is just off the charts in Biloxi. We have single-family residential, we have townhomes, we have apartment complexes, we even have some condos coming. Anchor Landing is on Brazier Road. Coral Breeze is the development that's being built right next to the Jubilee down here near the White Pillars Restaurant. You've probably seen some of the site work being done there. The Cristiano Boardwalk, that's the 16 beach houses that are going to be built just west of the Shell Station on the south side of Highway 90. The question about the Petty Boy townhomes that came up over here, there are going to be 62 townhomes built on that property. And one of the things that we made them do is they're going to have to put a buffer in between the townhomes and the single-family houses that are there behind that. Between the Ocean Club condominiums and the cemetery, you've probably seen some groundwork going on in there. That's going to be an apartment complex called The Current. There will be 144 units there. This is a developer from Hattiesburg that I've known for many years, and he does very good developments. The Beach Vista Apartments on Briarfield are just about finished. You probably noticed we've got a new mini golf course down in front of the finish line go-kart track that they're putting the finishing touches on right now. We have townhomes going on Maple Street. Point Breeze, the development that's been built, the new houses that are built right on the beach down here east of the mall. They finished phase one. They're in the process of finishing phase two. And the property that's next door on the other side of Grandview, they have a proposal for phase three that's going to go in there, which will be some single-family houses and some villas. Just a few more things. We're always looking at economic indicators to make sure that we're going in the right direction in Biloxi, and we look for ways to make things work within the code and within the law. But since 2016, per year, we've been averaging $920 million in gaming revenues, and in the past 35 months straight, our sales tax revenues have exceeded $1 million a month, actually averaging for the year $13.2 million. That has never happened in the history of Biloxi, that we've had that many months in a row. Several years ago, it was $800,000 this month, maybe $900,000 that month, up and down, just really inconsistent. But for the past 35 months, we've done over $1 million and actually averaging $1.2 million for 35 months in a row, and we're really excited about that because that shows that everything is moving in the right direction. And so with that, that finishes up my report. So, yes, sir.
The hotel that you mentioned is being built on Gates Avenue toward the hospital building there.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall what brand that's going to be?
They never tell us that until the very end. What will happen is they'll continue negotiating. These hotel developers represent several different brands. And even though they come in and get approval for a hotel, which they haven't given us a site plan yet, they may tell us it's going to be a home two suites, and by the time they get through, it's something totally different. They are constantly monitoring the market to see what will work best there. Yes, ma'am. The new trend now is that a lot of these retailers, all right, many people are doing all of their shopping online now. So retailers, the new concept now is that, yes, we'd love to come to this particular city, but we want to be a part of a major retail shopping center development so that that risk can be shared. We are getting some independent retail coming in, and there may be some things in the works on some of the bigger properties we have down here. We'll keep y'all posted on that, but we are working on retail, so stay tuned. Okay.
Jerry, could you tell us exactly what kind of business the Velvet Room is on Half Road that took over Sophie's restaurant?
The Velvet Room, okay. I'll have to,
Really wild stories about it.
okay. I'll have to check on it. I don't know, but
I want to know where it is right now. The Velvet Room?
yeah.
It's in
But-
Ward,
Yeah.
it's in Ward 5? Is it in Ward 5? I need to know so I can go meet the new owner.
And maybe they have happy hour there, so we can, okay. I saw another, yes, ma'am?
Yes, sir. A question about the sidewalks along the east. And it's like right across from the road, there's some up and down and areas that are really dangerous. People even walk around and bike, you know.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering, is that part of the economic plan?
We'll let the city engineer, Christie, address that when she gets up. Yes, sir?
Two questions. One, the parking garage that was attached to the Shuckey ballpark, is that going to become city public use, or what's the plan for that?
Mr. Leonard, you want to address that?
I didn't hear.
The parking garage next to the baseball stadium is at the city's now.
Yeah, this was a
Okay. Okay.
Former Broadwater property, announcement several years back about an elaborate plan. What's that?
It depends on who you ask. If you ask one of the owners of that property, they'll tell you that it's not, there are different levels of dead. There's dead, and there's dead. And what he's told us is that it's not dead yet. So, has anybody presented anything to us? No, we've received nothing since the announcement. So, and I'm sure that once something is presented, that'll be a major announcement again. But right now, we just don't have anything. Speaking of the baseball stadium, and this will be my last thing, Dr. Tisdale, we do have a lot of improvements going on at the baseball stadium. They are actually, if you're a baseball fan, they're actually putting in a beach type of arrangement out along the outfield, where people can have chaises and chairs sitting out there to watch the ball game. They're also building some individual observation decks so that people can rent those. If you want to take your family to the baseball stadium, there'd be a place where they could all sit and watch the game, by themselves. They're talking about putting in a food establishment on the inside of the stadium. They were trying to get it all done before this season started, but they're back to where it gets a wall time-wise. So they're going to do phase 1 this year, and they're proposing to come back and do phase 2 next year. But it's really going to add a lot of nice amenities to the baseball stadium. And thank y'all so much for letting us come and speak. Thank you.
So Natalie, I'm serious, or Dion, I want to go see where the Velvet Room is. I didn't, on the beach, okay. Next we have Christy Labata, and if you're local, there are Lebatards and there are Labatas. They just pronounce the name differently. She's both. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good evening so far. I'm going to talk about a few things that I know we've talked about in the past. Things are kind of moving. They're moving slow, but we're getting there. First thing is the Bay Vista water well. As you know, we were trying to get a project. We used some state ARPA, MCWI money to get a new water well. Our water well out here behind Fire Station number 5. It dried up a long time ago, had some issues with the well casing. So we got that in the works. It should be going out to bid pretty soon, within the next probably 2 months. In conjunction with that, we are also going to be replacing all the water lines in the Bay Vista subdivision, which we know has a lot of issues. Y'all are always having water outages. We always have water breaks in that area. That project is currently under design. We have money for construction. So I would expect, I don't have a good timeline, a definite timeline yet, but I would expect that we see construction start on that before the end of this year. Briarfield resurfacing. I'm just going down my list here that Dr. Tisdale has made for me, so if y'all have anything else after this, y'all can let me know. Briarfield resurfacing of those roads. Hopefully, we will be getting some more funding. We have run through our paving funding for this year. I'm hoping that soon we will be able to get some more paving funding in there, and West Biloxi, our administration has already committed to West Biloxi being our next area to accomplish some paving. Mike has a comment? So far, we've done about $2 million worth of paving, so we've gotten a lot done. I'm hoping that we can get another $2 million done in West Biloxi area in this next round of paving as soon as we get some money in place. So we've been getting a lot done, just not in your area just yet. Yes, ma'am. What street are you on? No, we're not going to be. Yes, no. We finally got y'all. Yeah. I know. Yes, no, we shouldn't have to come down Sproutley. We should be good. Yes. Concrete streets. We also know we have a lot of failing concrete streets in your ward. We have the River Place. There's one particular spot that's got a cone in it. It's had a cone in it for a while. It's on our list to be done by a repair replace contractor, so that will be coming as soon as he can get to it. We will be spending more money as soon as we get some more funding allocated for on Bay Point and the Enclave. So we don't have, unfortunately, enough money to go in and replace all of the failing panels in all the neighborhoods with concrete streets, but we will be able to go at least tackle some of the worst ones. Churchill Avenue drainage. We did a drainage study. I guess that's been a few months now. I don't have the results of that drainage study. We basically had somebody come in and do a study of the whole area to find out what would be the best approach to that Churchill ditch, not the concrete section, the one that's still a grass ditch. Don't have that study yet, but hopefully by the next ward meeting, should be before the ward meeting, I'll have it. And so I'll give it to Dr. Tisdale, and he'll probably send it out to everybody on his list. But we can talk about that for the next meeting, about kind of what can we do and what can we not do in that ditch. Drainage study in the East Edgewater Park, Point Breeze. We have not started that drainage study just yet. We're waiting on some funding to get that started, but it is on our list, and Dr. Tisdale keeps reminding us that we need to get that done. So it's on our list as soon as we get some funding in place. And I think the mayor talked about our big projects, Potts Ferry Extension, the Potts Ferry Bridge draw repairs. If y'all have any questions about those, I can answer them, or if y'all have any more questions or comments or concerns. Yes.
Christie, once again, I'd like to thank you, Mike Leonard, and Dr. Tisdale for the drainage ditch that continues to be functional between Calafox and Iron Place. And sure you're going to start cutting it regularly. So we have not had any flooding problems.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Trustee, what is the status on that Potts Ferry Road extension?
We will be getting authority to advertise. As the mayor said, we've been saying this for months, but any day now from MDOT. We're just waiting on MDOT. We've been through MDOT is funding the majority of this project, and they have a very tedious process to get through. We have now done everything we need to do. They have everything they need from us. We're just waiting on them to kind of go through their checks and balances and then tell us that we're good to advertise.
Well, we've had this conversation, and it was supposed to be put out in October last year.
Mm-hmm.
Here we're into March of '24.
Correct.
Look around the room, the age of the people in this room.
I know. I wish the mayor was still here, because he says that too, that he really wants to drive on that road before he dies. We've been trying very hard. We've been working very hard to get everything done. It is a very complicated project because we have to cross a railroad, and we have to tie into Highway 90, and we also had to tie in the Coliseum. So we had a lot of hurdles. Things would come up out of the blue that we didn't think about at different agencies, especially CSX. But we've done everything we need to do. We are just waiting on MDOT.
So kind of take us a little bit down the road here. It goes out for bid.
Mm-hmm.
We're still on a 12-month cycle.
Correct.
Completed.
Yes, sir.
We still have Congress interested in that development of that road.
Jerry could probably answer that more than I could. Yeah.
There's a lot of interest in Congress on that road. So it should be expedited. We're losing tax revenue every day that road is not complete.
I agree completely.
So, after it's put out the bid, get the bids, when do you estimate it's going to start?
So generally, from the time we get authority to bid from MDOT, we have to bid, the bid takes 30 days. Then we have to review the bids. That's usually anywhere from another 30 to 60 days, because we have to then send all the bids up to MDOT. They have to take a look at it. So, we're good probably from the day we get authority to advertise, a good 3 months before we can start construction.
Right.
Yeah.
Back into the bids.
I just have a question. With all the people coming in, all the apartments being made, all the houses, are y'all also planning enlarging streets and, widening this so that the traffic will be taken care of maybe, and water pressure and all that kind of stuff?
We do. Now, generally the streets, we require the streets to be 12 foot wide so that it can accommodate any volume of traffic that we see. We do sometimes go in and study traffic in an area to make sure that things are not going to be impacted by new development, especially like, for instance, with the new medical complex coming in Wool Market. You know, we did a traffic study to see what we needed to do to improve those roads to make sure that everything was going to flow, not that new development wasn't going to impact traffic. As far as like water pressures and sewer lift stations and things like that, we absolutely do. We actually right now are in the process, we have a water model. So when a new development comes in, we're in the process of updating it right now. When a new development comes in, we put that development in that model and put their water demands in that model, and it'll tell us whether or not we need to upgrade any water systems or anything like that. You'll also see some of the water projects we have going on right now in Ward 7 are just to accommodate those water pressures so that we can continue. Like we're extending our water line up Shriners Boulevard to the city limits to tie into a utility authority line. There aren't many people to tie onto that, and we've got a lot of questions. Why are you doing that? There's no access. No people need access there. Well, it's to provide water pressure so that we can add on into other areas of Wool Market. So yes, we are continuously looking at that.
On Foxbury, you have the Causeway Park.
Yes.
All the nice leaning docks. And
Yes.
anything addressing that? And one number 2 is thing, update on the Amtrak.
I don't have any update on Amtrak. I don't know if y'all hear anything on Amtrak. Yeah, I don't have anything on Amtrak. But for the pier at the Causeway that's fallen over, we actually just accepted bids on that, and it was approved by council on Tuesday. So that will be coming. We're waiting. The contractor has to cross the marsh grasses to get to it. So we're waiting on the DMR and the Corps to give us permission to do that. But we actually already have prices. We already have a contractor in place. We're just kind of waiting for that last little link. Yes. Been a long time coming. Yes.
I don't know if you're the correct person, but it's just when you're talking about things and looking pretty out there, something that crosses my mind all the time. And in West Biloxi, the pipes that extend past the beach have these cement walkways and they're attractive. Is this, I know that I've heard it talked about before, is there any plan to continue those so that the entire beach can look that pretty?
So I'm not sure. Those pipes actually, that project that you're talking about was done by the state, and those pipes are actually owned by MDOT, not by the city. But I have heard that they're going to continue that and to hopefully get all of them covered so that they look nice. But I don't know for sure. No, it doesn't, but we do have a project where we have what we call them we have a concrete contractor, repair replace contractor, and we've been going around fixing little spots in the sidewalks all over the city. So yes, so if you'll let me know exactly where they are, I can put that on our list. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, thanks y'all.
Well, last but not least, most of you know this guy, Colleen. In just a minute, okay? Just a minute, okay. Chief John Miller.
Thank you. So let me start by telling everybody how much we appreciate you being here. And you don't have to hold back with me. You can get as indignant as you want to. So if there's anything that's on your mind, now's the time to bring it up. So I was going to start and just run down the list, but I think some of what I've heard, I think I'll jump around a little bit and try to answer some of the questions that I know that people are concerned about. So one thing with recruitment. So it's not, for the first time in my 35 years as a policeman, this is the first time that I've seen a budget that I can hire as many policemen as I want to. The problem is you can't find policemen to hire. Okay, we've seen that coming for about 5 years now. You saw it start out west, you saw it up north. The Hate the Police movement had a big effect all throughout the country. Young people do not want to get in this business any longer. There was a time when we would do a test and we would have, the test I went to, Years ago, there was 250 people there to test for a policeman. And it wasn't uncommon for us to have a test where 100 young folks would show up to be the police. And now, if we give that test, we may have a half a dozen. And out of that half dozen, I can assure you that at least half of them will not be police material. And then there's probably another one out of that bunch that's not going to pass the psychological. And then there's probably somebody that something's going to show up in their background. So out of a half dozen, we're lucky if we get 2 now that we can make policemen out of. That's just the way things are. For years, we enjoyed the fact that we didn't have to worry about police officers or hiring police officers, because there was always young men and women that were willing to step up and do the job, and that's why they paid them a little or nothing, because they wanted to do the job. Well, that is a thing of the past. Now what you see are cities competing with pay to try to get the officers moved from one city to another. Probably 25%, if not more, of our department are lateral officers. And when I say laterals, that's someone that has come from another agency to us because we pay more, or we have paid more, or our benefits may have been a little better. You also have this young folks effect, where young folks are not in this and they're not committed. And I'm talking generally now, not all, but many are not so committed to the profession of law enforcement, where you take the oath and you say, I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do for the rest of my life. What you see now are more young people looking for money. Some of them want to hire right in, and they want to go directly into CSI because that's prestigious. You see all the shows about CSI. Well, that just ain't the way it works. In this business, this is the oldest apprenticeship business there is out there. And when you hire in to be a policeman, your behind starts at the bottom and you work up. And that's how you make a good policeman. And the only other part of that is we have had a lot of success in the past hiring people that were older, that had life experience. We would bring them in. They've already had a job. They've had to pay bills in the past. They've had a young'un or two. They always make good policemen, most of the time. But trying to bring young folks in now is very difficult, very, very difficult. And it's just a lot of them just don't want to do this job. Now, there are some positive parts to that. We have seen a marked increase in female policemen. When I started on the force, we had 3 or 4, and that was it. A big portion of our police force now are female. They're doing a great job for us, but who knows what sparked that? But you do see females wanting to be the police more now than ever before. As a matter of fact, one of the tests we gave last year, everybody that showed up was female. So positive for us, positive for the community. Also, we had some real problems hiring minority officers. That's always been a problem, and we have seen some success in recruiting minority officers, which your police department needs to reflect what your community is, and we're getting there. I feel pretty good about that. The only thing I don't feel good about is we just can't get enough policemen. And so today, I could hire 20, and with a promise from the mayor that if we hire those 20, he'll put another 10 in the budget. So the money's there, but it's just hard to get folks in. And if you know somebody that wants to be the police, send them our way. And like I said, we're in strict competition with all the other cities around us. But we've lost quite a few just in the past few years. Some retirement, because we did a big hiring in 1990, so all those folks were retirement eligible. Like your new councilman over here, he was a Biloxi policeman. And so, you don't blame them. Once they've done their 25 years, they're ready to move on to something else. And so, that's just the way it is. So what you have in Biloxi now, and in most cities throughout the United States, you're seeing a very younger police force. And so, we take them, we train them, send them to the academy. They get out, and believe me, when they come out of the academy, they know everything there is to know. And then about a year later, they realize they don't know crap. And then usually takes about 3 years before they actually have their legs under them, and the supervisor can feel pretty confident about not having to follow them around everywhere they go. Now, that's just the fact, y'all. That's just where we're at. That's where we're at in society. And, I keep telling myself this is going to turn around. We're going to see young men and women wanting to get back into this profession. But I haven't seen it yet. And we've been doing this, like I said, we've been watching it for 5 years. And the last 2 years, I guess the last year, we've seen a little increase. But before that, it was really starting to get scary. And we have gone to every job fair in the state of Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. And you see it, like down in Florida, you see they're offering stipends to bring policemen in. It's hard to compete with that when they'll, give an officer $5,000 to move there. It's hard to compete with that. But anyway, any questions on recruitment, retention, hiring, any of that I can answer before I move on? Yes, sir.
What is the starting salary for a police officer in Biloxi? I understand it's higher here than Gulfport, for example.
Well, it was higher than Gulfport. So we're a little below Gulfport now, and that's what I was saying a minute ago. You see all the agencies that all the cities are trying to bump up their pay a little bit. So you're in the door now at about 40, close to 43. After that first year, you'll bump up a good bit, and then after the third year, your 3 years I was talking about, you're making over 50. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I told you earlier, there is no age limit. Come on over.
You don't want to give her a weapon. I know her. She is a weapon. That's right.
So and not to back up, but I will just a little bit. We're not going to lower our standards in this city, and we've seen that take place other places. And I know that when you do that, you may not see it tomorrow or the next day or next year, but you will see. You'll see that you lowered your standards. You will have problems, and we're just not going to do that. So a lot of and I'll just jump right into this. A lot of the speeding and the running the stop sign stuff you see in our neighborhood is directly related to the fact that we need more policemen. Now, if you take the fact. Now, if we just had the 50,000 people in Biloxi, and that's what we were trying to police, then we would be okay with the number of policemen that we have now. But that's not what we have here. All right, this is a unique place. This is the events capital of the state of Mississippi. There's no other city that has the number of events that we have here. And those events take officers. And those officers, we have to pay them overtime. And most of them, I have worked a few officers here lately. I have worked them 6 weeks straight without a day off. And that's what we've had to do because of the events. Now again, if we just had the 50,000 people here, so be it. We would make it with what we have and would probably feel pretty good about it, but that's not the way it is. On any given day in the city of Biloxi, there's 70,000 people here. I'm going to roll the dice on that, but I know I'm very close there. But if you have a large event or something like that, you're looking at 120,000 people here, for a weekend. All those people have to have the same protection. And what comes along with those people, with these big events, what comes with those people? There are people that follow those events around. There's thieves, there's con artists. So you bet we're doing a great thing by having these big events. Everybody's proud of Biloxi and the number of events that they have and the type of events that we have. But from a police perspective, you have to understand there's an element that comes with that has to be dealt with, and it takes policemen to do it. So, I apologize that there's speeding in the neighborhoods. I know that there is. You're not going to tell me anything that I don't know about that. I know that's taken place. You would think that people would obey the law and not go over the speed limit, but they will. And good decent people will drive over the speed limit. As a matter of fact, on our polygraph test, you have control questions. A control question is a question that you ask someone knowing beforehand, and you tell them to lie to you. You know what the answer to the question is before you ask them, and you ask them to lie to you so that you can get a reading on the polygraph as to what a lie looks like. And one of those questions is, have you ever driven over the speed limit? Because we know everybody has. So we feel very confident asking that. All right, so I thought I would throw that in there, but if I can answer any questions, You know what, if you're having speeding in your neighborhood, call us, we'll do our best, and we have our traffic team that moves from one neighborhood to another, and when they get to the end, they start back over again. Yes, sir.
Chief Miller, good evening. I know we're running late. I'll probably be very brief.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
I'm a long-time complainer about traffic or speeding and recklessness on Foxbury Road. My correspondence with Assistant Chief Beck probably goes back several years. I've seen recently in the past few months increased traffic enforcement, and I thank you. I thank you. We can do better. They're still riding your bumper. They're passing in the center lane. I've seen people passing in the center lane from Pass Road all the way to Atkinson, and they're passing in the turning lane, and it's still, I appreciate what you've done the last few months, but we can do better.
Well, we will do our best to step it up, and if we could get a few more officers, that would make life easier. But we will do our best to step that up. But let me tell you the other side of that coin. And you're absolutely right. We've seen it. We know what goes on Pops Ferry Road. But there is a segment of folks who live on Pops Ferry Road that will absolutely disagree with you. And they're going to say that we are too heavy-handed, we write too many tickets on Pops Ferry Road, which I'm not saying we don't, because we write a lot of tickets on Pops Ferry Road. But they will absolutely.
I've noticed the recent improvement, and I thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And, yes, ma'am.
What about speeding on Highway 90? It's like daytime. And I work for the Army National Guard in Gulfport, and I go to work at 6:30 in the morning. And there are people doing 70 at 6:30. So I started going Patch Road, which was better because the traffic's not as heavy until the time change and it's so dark. And that's when the homeless people start middling from the old Broadwater.
Why you got to bring up homeless? Why you got to bring that up right now?
Yeah, and then they're walking across the street
Right.
in the dark, in dark clothes. So do I risk getting run over at Daytona, or do I risk getting homeless?
Well,
And I work for the military, so.
so, yeah, Highway 90 has always been an issue, and it's going to continue to be an issue. And let me tell you, we can write tickets all day long, and you would think, man, that would get it for me. I got a ticket one time and I had to pay it. I think it would slow me down, but it doesn't do it for everybody. And I could send a traffic unit out. They can write tickets all day long, every day. And here, a couple of funny facts, because you're absolutely right, but not to get off what you were talking about. But most of the time when a neighborhood calls us and asks us to come out, because they're having problems in their neighborhood, we have a standard that we make sure they understand before we come, and that is we will absolutely be there. But when we write tickets to the residents of the neighborhood, they're going to be upset. And every time we do this, it's usually the first few tickets we write are to the residents, and in some cases, even the folks that have called us. And they get upset. I'm the one that called you. Yeah, well, you're the one that's speeding, But yeah, speeders they've always done what they're doing right now. We just have an increase of people now, and it seems much worse. But I assure you, we're writing tickets every day and trying to slow people down. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not too sure if this has anything to do with speeding. There are what looks like cameras going up at intersections, and I'm just curious about what those are. Are they speed cameras? Are they just cameras?
All right, so in the state of Mississippi, you cannot issue a citation with a camera if it's a moving violation. All right, it's against the law. The cameras that you're seeing in the intersections, most of those belong to MDOT, and they're not recorded. Regardless of what you would think there's a camera there, there's an accident there, you got it on camera. No, they don't record them, they don't use those to record with for liability purposes, is my understanding. The other cameras that you see going up are the cameras that we're putting up. And we've got cameras all over the city, and we started off doing those strictly for crime detection, and hopefully we could arrest some criminals. And so we've been doing that now for quite a while, and it's costly, but we're not nearly where we need to be yet. But a lot of those cameras that you see are recording back to our dispatch center and our real-time crime center. So our real-time crime center that we're in the process for the last couple of years, 3 or 4 years, putting together. Eventually there will be cameras in a lot of areas throughout the city. If an officer gets a call to that area, While he's on the way there, the dispatch and the real-time crime center folks, our intel people, will be pulling that location up and looking all around that location at what cameras they have, hoping that they can see the suspect before the officer ever gets there. And any of you can buy into that. If you have cameras at your home, we can't use your cameras that are facing your pool or your backyard or any of that. But if you have anything that's facing a public area or a public roadway, we can tie into that camera, and we can do it separately with your consent when you want us to, or you could allow us just to look at that camera whenever we want to look at it. That's totally up to y'all. But all you have to do is give us a call on that, and we'll be glad to walk you through that. We use a company called Fusus to help us integrate all those camera systems into our system so that we can see what's going on. The other cameras that you see going up are the insurance cameras that the mayor had spoke of earlier. There's been a lot of controversy over that. It is not illegal to put those cameras up because we're not issuing a citation for a moving violation. We're issuing a citation for people who don't have insurance. I was one of those victims a while back. At one time, I may not have been as on board with the camera system as I am now, but somebody ran into my wife, and they didn't have insurance, and guess who paid that? Right here. And there was nothing I could do. I was told a while back I should have sued them, but you know what it takes when you sue somebody, right? Yeah, you got to have an attorney. And then you end up paying, I just went ahead and fixed my car. It was cheaper just to fix my car than it was to take this person to court. So, and like the mayor said, about 30% don't have insurance that are out driving today. And we all have to pay the premiums for that. I did contact the company earlier today just to see where we were actually at with that, because we've only been up and running now for a couple of weeks. All right, so the camera actually reads your tag, and the insurance companies are required by law now to update their policy folks every day. And so if you don't have insurance, it's going to show. Now believe me, there's always problems with everything, right? There's always some issues. So so far they've issued 563 citations. 60 of those were dismissed right off the bat because things didn't look right. Maybe it was a different color vehicle. There was some addresses that were not right, so we're not going to take the chance. We just dismiss them. 37 have gone ahead and made the payments because they knew they didn't have insurance and they didn't want to argue. And then most of the rest are at this point either waiting to go to court or waiting to talk to the prosecutor about trying to work something out. Any other questions on that? Yes, sir.
I got the ticket. I got one of those. I'm 57 and have had insurance since I was 16 years old. I thought it was a scam, and it even had your signature. It was from the city of Biloxi, and it said the ticket was from I-110 in Pearl, Mississippi.
In Pearl, Mississippi. So yours got dismissed, huh? Yeah.
No, I still had to send them the proof of insurance.
Oh, did you?
I had
To the company?
very rude. And on the back, the instructions, it was so broken. I swear, I thought it was a scam. So
Well,
I love the idea, and I think it's wonderful. I'm not so sure about the company that's not right.
Well, this is where we stand with that, because Ocean Springs had done it first. And when I was first approached about it, my attitude at that point was that, I didn't want to fool with it because I know that Ocean Springs had a lot of complaints. But a lot of things have been worked out, but not everything. And when you got a citation from I-110 in Pearl, Mississippi, yeah, that was an issue.
Because I seriously, the back, it was all jumbled. It was we've been having some printing issues. Then she said, we've been working on that for a year.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't us now. That was the company. Yeah.
And again, I love the concept.
So,
I just don't love it.
well, what we're going to do is push it a little while longer, let them get the bugs worked out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'll be the first one to say it's out. If it gets to be more trouble than it's worth for our citizens, then there's no need in keeping it. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Does the city of Biloxi have any noise ordinances in respect of motor vehicles?
Yeah, we do, but it's very difficult. I know, it's very, very difficult to enforce enforce that. I'll just be honest with you, it is. If it's a stationary, like a party or something, that is enforceable. By the time we get there, the vehicle's gone. You can give us the tag number, but in the state of Mississippi, in order for an officer to make an arrest on something like that, you realize he has to witness it. He actually has to witness it. Yeah. Would, yeah. And so we, like I said, enough officers, we can do that. Yes, sir.
I've heard rumors that this might be the case. I just wanted to kind of verify it was one way or the other. That is, do your police officers look more at red sports cars for speeding?
No, but I used to teach a DUI class, and when I asked a young lady why she thought she was stopped, she said, because I got a red Corvette. And I said, no, that's all nonsense. That's all nonsense, yeah. All the way in the back.
Good afternoon. My question is on this review spring break. What's the status of that?
All right, I'm going to get there in just a minute. Let me get through with this, and I'll answer that question for you. Steve?
Yeah. This may not be for you, but maybe coming in the right direction. There's hardly a day goes by that we don't have trains that stop and block from the Beach Road to Highfield Drive. And I know the technology exists that should be able to see signals for those of us who have devices in the car, because we know when there's a traffic accident, we know when there's road construction. And is there any way that you're aware of that we can know when these intersections are going to be blocked and we stop trains? Because your officers don't know when they can't get across the ambulances and fire trucks. Do you know if there's technology that exists?
I would think if there's money to be made, somebody's working on it. But I don't know. I don't know if that's possible right now or not. I know that CSX, we call them, stay in touch with them, that pretty regularly about different things. And on events, we thought, we were gullible enough to believe that if we called them and told them we had, this huge event, they would stop the train for us. And, I found out that CSX does not stop the train for anybody. Yeah. Well, and I'll research it and see what I can find out, but, yeah, they're not the grandest people to try to work with. Any other questions on that? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm a retired teacher, and I live on Nelson Road where Top Series School is. And I know we're talking about the speeding issue, and you don't have enough officers, but speeding in a school zone is particularly heinous, in my opinion. I go the speed limit. I wouldn't dare speed down the street where I used to work, and I live there. And people shortcut down Nelson Road. The whole street is 50 miles an hour all day long, 24 hours a day. And people don't think it's a school zone, so they just fly. I mean, if we had some flashing lights like they do at the elementary school, it might slow them down. I don't know. But to me, that's horrible.
Well,
It's like it's slow. You got it. And I work in Gulfport now, but I'm like, and I go slow. I wouldn't want to jeopardize those children in that school.
Well, I can tell you that the prosecutors in most courts are always willing to try to work something out quick so they don't have to go. But in Biloxi court, if it's a school zone issue, there's nothing worked out. You got to pay the fine. So we've hit them as hard as we can with that. You would think common sense would tell you there's kids present, but a lot of people don't use common sense.
15 miles an hour all day long, all night long. If you read the signs, it gives you it's 15 miles an hour, period. And the first little tiny block in Nelson is 25, and then the rest of it all the way to Harvard.
Well, we can take a look at the speed limit signs. But just know that I don't care if you make it 15 or if you make it 30, people are going to go the speed limit they want to go.
My children used to ride their bike on the street, and on the sidewalks and stuff. And I'd be running out the street screaming at people,
Right.
So I just think it's awful.
We'll check and see about the speed. If something we can do with the speed. Yes, sir. Hey, sir. How are you?
The city sanctioned some kind of charity or fundraising event that was over at the mall. I could hear boom, boom, boom.
Hey, sir. How are you?
The city sanctioned some kind of charity or fundraising event that was over at the mall. I could hear boom, boom, videos of all kind of profanities just blaring out of these cars that were sanctioned by the city. That's disturbing me.
When was it? Was that, is that,
Last Friday night about 7 o'clock.
that was coffee and cars? Is that what it was?
Kids with their squatted trucks all out for the police. On the second thing, on speakers, I've talked to Paul several times about on Route Halifax and cut through between Big Lake and Eisenhower. I've asked our speed tank. They said the city don't want to do that because it damages or could damage cars somebody's supervisor. Over at West Mobile, they have these, things that make the traffic slow down. It's like a little curve here, a little curve there, and a big, like center island, where you have to slow down to go around it. So in these areas where y'all can't cover, can we put those in there without having to go to every angle on the street? If you find the problem there.
Well, it's certainly worth looking at. I mean, it is. I'm not gonna tell you that's gonna happen, but it's certainly worth looking at. And I'll do that and see if there's something that we can do there. I know we've talked many times about the problems in that area. And you know, we've sent officers out, we wrote tickets, some of the neighbors, you know.
Y'all put boxes on the.
We did.
And see how many cars and what size vehicles and everything comes through there.
We can take a look and see if that's something. Anybody else?
Just real quick, thanks for brought up the road across Prairie School, because when Rouse's opens, they're already using that and Old Bay as shortcuts. They're gonna be coming through there like clockwork. They're gonna be taking these roads as shortcuts to get around the extra traffic when Rouse's opens.
All right, well, I'm glad you bring it to our attention. We'll see what we can do to curb some of that. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I was at my father's house yesterday, and he lives on Old Bay. There's a lot of traffic signs, 3 or 4 went by us, nobody could cross there to go to the park. There's no way. That's the biggest racetrack in the whole area. It's just crazy. I mean,
It
they're
is.
flying, they got.
Well, it is, and you would think that people would.
Well, and some of the signs said, drive as if you have your own children in the car, and they go right on the
All right, y'all, thank you for that. I'm gonna move on because I know some of you are getting tired of listening to me. You had a gentleman in the back that asked about spring break.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What was your question, sir?
I'll ask what was the status of it? On the agenda here, it says review, spring break traffic plan.
Yes. So, you know, there was one application that was made for spring break. That application was denied based on the plan that was presented to us. It was not a good plan. But I know that there's going to be spring breakers here. We know that people are going to come for spring break. The beach is wide open to anybody that wants to go on the beach. But commercial activity, and I think from what I heard yesterday, with the Sand Beach Authority and the Sheriff's Department, they're not going to allow commercial activity on the sand beach. And there's no applications currently that have been approved through us for commercial activity. So, you know, people can come and have a good time, but if anybody's trying to make money off of it, there's going to be some issues there that we'll have to deal with. The plan itself, the cones will go back out. It looks to me like, from what we're seeing on social media, that there's been another date added. They're including that Monday after, so that puts it, yeah, it's the 11th through the 15th is what we're planning for now. So it's going to be a longer spring break than usual.
I'd like to say something. You know, I have been in Biloxi in and out most of my life. And we can have every other county event come to this town with all kinds of traffic, and we'll accommodate. I can remember one year, Black Spring Break, and I was told how bad it was. I decided to ride down Highway 90 to see it for myself. I see record trucks staging down in front of where the old Outlaw Hotel used to be there, the Outlaw Hotel on the beach there. On that vacant lot where the casino used to be at, the bar used to be out. They set up stations, you know, to go to work, okay? And the traffic plan that was designed at that time, I come down Highway 9, I had to drive all the that you can go to Pass Road. Yeah, you already Gulfport to come back to Road Spring. And one side of Highway 90 was completely blocked off. Nothing but two-way traffic. And you don't see that in no other event.
No, you see that in every event, sir.
What I'm saying.
The traffic plan is the same for every event, along with the tow trucks.
So what I'm
The
saying.
problem we have with the spring break event is that there's, first of all, there's never been an organized promoter. And I'll give you this, they tried this year. And I appreciate the fact that they tried. But the plan they brought to us was given back to them, and they were told that this is not the plan we can use. You're gonna have to do better. And they didn't. The biggest problem, we're gonna have spectators on Highway 90 for every event. You see that. Whether it's cruising the coast or scraping the coast, people are gonna line Highway 90. With this particular event, it's basically in one small area, and we can't keep people on either side. They're crossing constantly. So about 3 years ago, we said, well, we'll solve the problem. We'll set up a crossing place where people can come and we can get them across. Well, that didn't work because they crossed all up and down Highway 90. And what happens there, that you have to keep in mind, this is US Highway 90. This isn't a city street, this is a US highway. And when people are crossing constantly back and forth from the beach side to the north side, constantly, traffic's not flowing. And unfortunately, our infrastructure here is set up so that that is the road. That's how you get around here, is on Highway 90. So we've tried a bunch of stuff in order to try to, like I said, we set up the crossing. Everybody cross here, but that didn't happen. We couldn't force anybody to do that. So when traffic gets completely stopped, there is nowhere else for somebody to go. They can go over to Pass Road, which is going to be blocked in just a few minutes. All it takes is 6,800 cars, and you're completely blocked. That's all it takes, 6,800 cars from on Highway 90 in that area and over to Pass Road and the streets that cross between, 6,800. So that brings it in perspective for you. When you got 30,000 cars, it's already a problem. But then when you have people trying to cross Highway 90 all over the place, and traffic is constantly having to stop, we can't have that. What I suspect you'll see in the future is I suspect that you'll see some promoters that will come forward and they will have a better plan. They'll have a plan for the south side of the beach, and they'll have a plan for the north side, and they'll have somewhere to park cars. The particular plan we looked at this time for the 30,000 cars that, and I'm sure it's going to be more than that, but the 30,000 cars that were estimated, there was less than 200 places to park, and that's an issue. And I don't believe that it should be, all the other promoters come forward and they bring us a plan, and this is what we're going to do. I don't think it should be up to the police department or the city to work their plan for them. And I think by next year, you'll see some real promoters step up and show us a good plan. That's what I think is going to happen.
I do agree with that. I feel that they should have a plan. I think I spoke to you last year.
Yes, sir.
About it, and having somebody maybe here on the ground trying to coordinate that for them to get it done.
And we do. We have an events coordinator that has worked really hard with
I would
them.
like to see, do whatever we can to resolve that issue.
Sure.
It is an issue, and they keep on to come here, and we need to find a way to help that make that happen.
Well, and part of the ordinances that we put in place, although they seem to be burdensome for just about every event, I think everybody's seeing now they're not that difficult to deal with. They're not that bad. And it's something that we've had to do. And like I said, I think that you'll see some professional promoters by next year come forward with some plans that will work. That's what I'm
Right
saying.
now, planning is the issue of being able to give you all the schedule plan as to the event they're gonna host and
Well,
they're gonna have them at.
that's not an issue. They're bringing us and telling us they're gonna have this party here and this party there, but what they're not giving us is a way to deal with it. If there has to be parking, there has to be a way for spectators to be on Highway 90 and not crossing 90 constantly. So that's what we're looking for. And again, I think it'll happen.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. What we do, we use rope hangers because it's so much, and we use every barricade that we have, and we use rope hangers with rope, twisted through them, and that should be an indication that, don't cross this, but people hop right over that. And then the two center lanes, you know, we put cones down both of those center lanes. And that's been a bone of contention for a lot of folks. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not gonna apologize for that, even though people, you know, hate them. But the reality of it is, if I've got to get an ambulance to somebody who's having a heart attack, I want to be able to get them there. And if I can close down one of those, if I have a shooting like we did last year, everybody knows what we had last year. We had one homicide, and we had 6 people shot, one of them being a policeman. And thank goodness we were able to get ambulances where they needed to be. So I'm not going to apologize for that. I know it's a burdensome for people. I know going to one lane slows things down. I understand that. But as far as safety, you know, I've been told some ridiculous things like, you know, maybe you should use the beach. Well, I don't know if you know the weight of a fire truck, but throw a fire truck on the beach and see how far it goes. It's not going to go very far, you know. And then we've been told, well, somebody's having a heart attack, you know, you can get to them with a four-wheeler. Well, the problem with that is, I put the four-wheeler on the beach, I go down the beach, I find where I'm going to cross, I get across, get through traffic, get to the residents, load them on this stretcher, back on this four-wheeler, take them back over the beach, down the beach, and go as far as I have to go in order to get to an ambulance. That's ridiculous, folks. We all know that a heart attack patient is it's minutes, and that's what you have, and not, you know, not 30 minutes. So I want everybody to know that we've looked at every possibility that we can, and we're going to continue to look. But some events are difficult simply because of the way they're laid out. And you know, we're going to put it on the event promoters regardless of what the event is. We're going to put it on the event promoters that you have to come to us with something that's doable and not throw all the problems on the city and the residents of the cities. Come to us with something that's workable. Sorry, we'll get off that high horse. Anything else that, Counselor, did I touch on everything?
Touched on almost everything. I'll get the last one about the Citizens Academy.
Okay, if you're going to do that.
Need a running start?
No, I'm good. So he's going to talk about the Citizens Academy. If any of you are interested in going through the Citizens Academy, it tells you a little bit about police work, what policemen do, and it's a great academy. I'm going to leave this with you. Here's the application. You can download that, take a look at it.
Well, you just told them about
There
it.
you go.
It's all, just a moment.
No, ma'am, I'll be here.
Just a moment, just a second. The Citizens Academy, they have one class a year, it's like 8 or 9 nights, like a night class. I think it's 2 or 3 hours each. They'll take 23, 4, 5 people, I think is what it's limited to. They've had 2 or 3 classes already. Almost everybody who's been through it gives you some idea of how the police, what tools and resources they have to use and how things work from the law enforcement side. So if you want to know more about how your police department works, get yourself educated a little bit. I taught one little section on city ordinances where it's very interesting. So if you're interested in that, I think the next class is going to be sometime in August. If you get my newsletter, I'll have a link in there so you can download the application. You'll know who to contact, everything. Okay? No, they're not even taking applications right now. They'll do that, you know, like I said, probably somewhere around August.
Yep.
I'll put something out and they get something to do. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I live on Audubon, and my backyard backs up to the woods and then to the railroad track. And I have somebody in a tent behind me, I have a chain link fence, it's over 4 feet. And I called the police, and I discovered it, which was probably a couple of Sundays ago. And I can see in the woods, since I've lived there, I've been there about 11 years. And, there's never been a problem back right behind me.
Did they go back? Or you don't?
No, because I don't give a gate on back there. The house next door to me, which is up for sale, and those people have already left. The house on the other side of me is a young couple, and he works offshore, so he wasn't there. And I would go on back there myself, just to see who was there.
Yeah,
But I didn't want to go by myself.
Don't do that.
But one of them, and I told him the house next door didn't have a gate, but I'm sure they have a padlock on it. Well, he went over there, he came back, and does have a padlock on it. So they could go over to the next sidewalk. There's a house over there that there's no fence, and in fact, it would have been an easy trek over there, you know, but that's what I'm concerned about.
Well,
Who goes back there?
we'll get it checked on, and just so all of you know, the homeless issue is something that was dropped in the police department's lap. If you'd asked me 3 years ago, and people did, I would have told you that that's not a concern of the police department. Their conduct is what the policeman or police officer should have dealt with. But unfortunately, this is a nationwide problem, and we have been forced to take the bull by the horns. And so I have 4 people, and for those many officers that I have, 4 of them, and that's their job every day, is to deal with the homeless issue. To go out, find them, try to find out what's up with them, see if we can get them somewhere else to go, like Mobile.
Don't repeat that. Don't repeat that.
So that would be Gary Crowell, and I'll speak with him about that. And when we leave, if you give me your address, and we'll leave. We'll take a look at that, and see if there's something we can do with it, and see if it's
Well,
back
I'm
there.
up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I can see, all of a sudden, I see a little glow. He lights up his tent, you know, and I can even see the flashlight on
Well,
those, you know.
that's something to be concerned about.
Yes.
But when I was talking about Mobile, we absolutely have permission to go to Mobile and take folks over there. So don't, all the speculation that you heard that we were taking people over and dumping them out and leaving them, that's all hogwash. None of that was true. But anyway, we'll deal with that. Anybody else, anything else? He's ready to go. Thank you.
Just a final reminder, I keep pushing my weekly newsletter. How many of you get my weekly newsletter? Okay. And I noticed most of the folks who were asking the questions weren't from Ward 5 tonight. Love them anyway, glad they're here. But if you want to get this newsletter, just on the sign-in sheet, put your name, your email address. I'll add you to the list. It's not a problem, but it's a good way to stay informed, particularly with what's going on in community development, planning commission, development review committee. Go ahead. He's still here. Go ahead.
All we want is someone to come around, check out all these people. However, with all I heard that we got in here, never happened in Biloxi before. We need a full operating police force. We want the cops. We want them now. We're not gonna keep asking about it. We want the cops. We want a full group of cops, that like every other city seems to get. Not 1 or 2, we want cops. This is this place is a law and order city. We're not putting up with this, we want the police.
If anybody will point us to 30 officers, we'll hire them tomorrow. It's the first thing. The second thing is, as Chief said, we're competing with every other law enforcement agency. Sure.
That's plenty of money, and I don't care about 30 other people. Pay the people you have the money that are other police.
I'm for that. I'm working
All the
on that.
money that they're giving, give out. Don't tell me about 30 police. Give them what they deserve.
I think the chief would agree that anything the chief has asked for, anything he's asked for, have you ever been denied anything, Chief? Not to put you in the 10 years I've been on the council, that's never been an issue for police or fire.
Slap in the face and embarrassment with our cops go to them, circle across the beach, across the bay, and get better paid in Biloxi. What is this?
So that reminds me that we have a budget workshop after the April 16th council meeting to talk about employee pay. So anybody's welcome to come to that workshop. Okay. What about engineers? Thank you all for coming. As usual, you can call me anytime. I'm happy to help you if I can.